Speaking of Canelo, Canelo's taking on Bivol. What's your thoughts on that?
He's the best fighter that he could have fought right now. Okay, he's much better than David Benavidez. Charlo, don't even mention that in the same breath as Canelo. He stops him with a double hook to the body pretty quick. Canelo would stop Charlo. It'd be too easy. Benavidez would be a good tough fight, but not as tough as Bivol because of style, because Bivol's got that jab. But Turbiev's there. He's fighting Joe Smith. So I would imagine what we're going to have here is, so let's just say for GGG wins. Okay. I can see Canelo's going to win. Let's just say GGG wins. He fights GGG, fights Canelo, and Canelo gets rid of GGG in September. I can see him unifying the title at the end of the year, or maybe the first month of next year against the winner of Turbiev and Smith. I can see that happening. So but Turbiev is on the back nine. He can't back up. He can't pivot anymore. His legs are gone, and he's not what he was.
I mean,
And then what's his name? What's that? I'm sorry.
You talking about Joe Smith?
No, Turbiev.
Okay. So if Canelo and Beterbiev fought for undisputed at 175, what will be your thoughts on that?
Canelo, too much of a fighter, too fresh, too young compared to Beterbiev. Beterbiev had 1 million amateur fights, and he's like 36, 37 years old. And I just think that Canelo beats him. Not easy, but easier than people would think to beat a guy like a Beterbiev.
So if Canelo goes to 175 and becomes undisputed again, what does that do for his legacy? Like, where do you rank him all time?
His legacy will be, he'll be considered the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, probably the greatest Latino fighter, period, of all time. Probably.
Wow. Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, who in the game can beat Canelo right now? Who would you pick that would give?
Nobody.
So nobody can beat.
He would beat the cruiserweights. He'd beat the middleweights. He'd beat the super middleweights. He'd beat the light heavyweights.
Yeah. Yes.
He does. Let me explain something to you, Fred. He does things that are very subtle things in there that make him the winner that he is. Forget about how strong he is. Forget about how accurate his punches are. He does little stuff. He does the shoulder roll occasionally. He skates around the guy. He occasionally uses his feet. He just does little subtle things, and it makes him great. He's a complete fighter, inside, outside. He can do it all. He controls the ring beautifully with the jab and double hooks to the body. He just is a brilliant guy in that ring.
I agree.
And not a bad businessman either, obviously.
Yeah, he's getting it right now. He's getting it. Hey, man. What do you think about Canelo?
He may never make the money Floyd did because he doesn't have a Pacquiao. In other words, where he could make that huge money in one fight because he doesn't have that kind of a challenger. But if he had, he would.
Now, piggybacking off of that and kind of adding Canelo telling all the fighters that they need to fight each other, do you think Canelo's thinking, I need to build these other guys up?
Oh, correct. They don't warrant fighting him right now. But Benavidez has no belt. Charlo's got no belt at 68. There's nothing there to fight for. It's all Canelo. The promotion is Canelo.
Do you think if Benavidez wouldn't have lost his belt on the scales, do you think Canelo would have still came to 68 and probably went around collecting the belts the same way?
What happened? I'm sorry, excuse me?
Do you think if Benavidez wouldn't have lost his belt on the scales, his WBC belt, and
no, he would have. No, because he would have had a fight. Oh, you mean to be undisputed? Oh, yeah. He would have fought him already, beat him already.
Okay, yeah,
Canelo would have beat him already.
That's what a lot of people are saying. Like, oh, Canelo wouldn't have fought Benavidez if he would have kept his belt. And I blame Benavidez for all of this. Which, me personally, I kind of do blame Benavidez. I mean, if you don't lose your belt on the scale, and if you're disciplined, because not to mention, this is the second time he lost his belt. First time, different circumstance, but nonetheless, second time you lost your belt. then you're sitting there complaining about, you know, certain things and not getting fights, and you know, like you can't complain.
That guy's got more second chances for a young guy. He's only all the second chances already came before he's 23 years old. Two of them. What more do you want? He's got to be the professional that he isn't.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He's a great fighter, though. I think he's a
Very
awesome
good
fighter.
fighter. Not great. Do not use the word great. He's another guy, doesn't hold a significant win on his record yet, but he's only 24 years old. He might become a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but not right now. Too early.
I think a lot of people forget that he's crazy. He's super young. 24. That's crazy, man. He's got plenty of time.
He's already lost 2 belts, the same one.
Yeah.